chosen a terrorist group committed to the destruction of Israel. So therefore, when you fire rockets at us, we will fire rockets at you. If that means shock and awe, that means shock and awe. That is not an incitement to genocide. Coming to your earlier things, you have quoted 2 pieces of debunked propaganda. And I will show you, I can show you afterwards in chapter and verse, because I've actually brought a book here which debunks this kind of stuff. Okay? The white phosphorus that we used were not white phosphorus shells. White phosphorus is used to illuminate battlefields. That's what the Israelis used it for. Israel never, ever fired a phosphorus or other chemical shell against any civilian or any other army. That's number one. Number two, that rocketing of the UNRWA, United Nations School, that story ran for about a week. And Israel, unfortunately, has got this habit of saying, sorry, we're really sorry, we're making an investigation. Before they actually investigate, they say sorry. So they said sorry at the time. You know, in the heat of battle, this is it. Richard Kemp said the same thing. Okay? Accidents are not war crimes. But then, after a week, and you can look it up, and if you can't find it, you know where my blog is, I'll let you know where it is. Even the United Nations admitted that it wasn't an Israeli shell, it was a Palestinian rocket which was fired.
Thank you, Salman. Do you have some more questions, please? I've given 2 out of 3 so far to the Palestinian Jordan Society. Is there anyone who wants to ask a different? Leanne? There's one in short balance there. Okay, go on.
I'm Leanne. This is more directed, I guess, to Amos. It's given that the current areas which are under Palestinian control are scattered throughout the areas of Israeli control, even if we do get to an agreement of a 2-state solution, how do we find that clear border to properly independent states?
Thank you, Jan.
Oh, I left it in the wrong room. I have a map and everything. The idea that Palestinian control is spread out through Israeli control is based on the Oslo Accord map, wherein Palestinian control is where the Palestinian Authority have control in Area A and perhaps Area B if you want to be generous. What we're actually talking about when we talk about 2-state solution is a 2-state solution according to the 1967 lines, the Green Line, with negotiated land swaps on a 1-to-1 ratio. So, for example, you know, we're not dealing with moving every single settler. We're dealing with cutting out parts of the West Bank, which are already heavily populated by Israelis, moving them into, well, reallocating what they are to Israel, and giving land back to the Palestinians, both in the West Bank and Gaza. So we're talking about moving 70 to 100,000 people, which is still a lot of people, but not the 500,000 people that we might worry about. But we're talking about building a territorially contiguous state in areas A, B, and C, and having minimal land swaps that enable us to have the best possible chance for some kind of successful economy, some kind of successful society in the West Bank and in Gaza.
Thank you. Any other questions? Yourself at the back. Can you stand up and say your name, please?
Hi, my name is Zara.
So I can't hear you, and Jonathan's got hearing problems, so I'm up here.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
My name is Zara Assad. I have a question directed to Amos. I just would like to ask you about, I know that you support the 2-state solution, and you were campaigning in Shad support the 2-state solution against demolitions, against resettlement. But I just want to ask you, how do you think this is going to happen? How do you think Israel is going to stop building settlements? How do you actually think Israel is going to relocate the settlements without supporting BDS? Shad supports peace talks, supports raising awareness. Do you actually think Israel is going to actually take any action without pressure from the US, with its support that it's getting from the US, with its billions of dollars, with its continuous support? It's getting all the support, it's not getting anything against the settlements. I would just like to ask you, how is this going to happen without BDS, and why Yashad doesn't support BDS? Because I believe it's the one thing that's is pushing for peace, and the one thing that's pushing for pressuring Israel to stop moving.
Thank you, Lauren. So the question, just to reiterate, is how can Yachad, my organisation, advocate and push towards peace, a two-state solution, and a negotiated solution without supporting BDS. Yachad is an anti-BDS organisation. We've campaigned and continue to argue against BDS. Now, I went through it very quickly before. Boycott, divestment, and sanctions is either negligible in its impact or absolutely has the reverse impact. If we actually believe that...
Actually, I just want to point out, because Zandi said the same thing, that BDS is negligible and its effect is negligible. The Israeli government itself said that it's been having substantial impact.
I said that, but cool. So the way in which you can measure impact is either through the economics, so we can talk about whether by boycotting, divesting and sanctioning Israel, that will impact Israel's economy. It doesn't. Actually, Israel's economy has grown. The area in which there is impact, and I talked about this, is that it has an impact on the election trail. BDS is a conversation topic among voters. It is a conversation topic amongst politicians. However, what it doesn't do is yield any kind of political class that is more interested in peace. What we see is that it entrenches a worldview in which Israel stands alone as a single state, and everyone in the world hates us. That's the sort of very condensed, very sort of minimal narrative that's created by BDS. When you have this isolationist attitude, you don't, in the end, bring in a sort of a party that is interested in peace and negotiation on a more dovish compromising stance. You bring in strongmen. You bring in people who want to stand up for Israel against the world that hates us. In fact, what happens is that Netanyahu is a product of BDS. If we want to see an Israel that thrives, what we need to be pushing towards is an Israeli political class that is interested in peace and wants to push towards peace. It's the constructive engagement of, I would say, the Obama administration rather than the Trump administration that yielded some peace talks. Is what Clinton managed to do as well. We have a political class that's pushing towards peace rather than one that is scared of the people around the world.
I'd like to bring Jonathan in on this.
Sorry. Nobody asked me, so I have to interject. I just want to say something. That the two-state solution may not be alive and well now, but it's still, by popularity, over 50%, but roughly 50% of Palestinians think that's the best solution, and roughly 50%, depending on the poll you look, of Israelis think that's the best solution. And the reason is because there's no alternative. The alternative of a one-state solution, does anybody understand what that's about? Oh, sure, they talk about confederation within one entity. Can you imagine in a confederation, Hamas cooperating with the Mossad? I mean, come on. If this was such an easy thing to do, it would have happened already. The two-state solution is very complicated, but it's the most realistic way to allow the aspirations of the Palestinians and to provide separation of the Israelis from the Palestinians. It's not going to be easy, and it ain't going to happen anytime soon because the Israelis aren't making the right decisions to happen, and the Palestinians certainly aren't doing what they need to do to make it happen. But there isn't any alternative. That, I'm afraid, is my closing statement because I have to.
Firstly, I'd like to thank the panel for coming. We've seen quite a varying range of views, even some consensus from people you wouldn't think had consensus. So I'd like to thank the panel for all coming and contributing so well. As well as thanking the panel, I'd like to thank all of you for coming out. It's actually really fantastic to see such diverse people in the audience. I thank you all for being so respectful and listening so well. One thing I'd just like to say is that this Friday night, the Chase-Off is holding their usual Friday night dinner, but it's an interfaith one. And what we're doing here is getting around the table and talking from different sides of the debate. And we'd like to invite all of you guys from Palestinian Society, Jordanian Society as well. And hopefully we can have a lovely peaceful dinner, a really constructive debate. And that's what it's about, getting people together. Again, I'd just like to say thank you again to the panel and thank you all for coming. Have a good afternoon.